Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I'm your host, Ben Cross, and I'm with my friend, Faye Hoxworth, Strategic Operations Manager, Old Republic Relocation Services. Faye, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
Thank
good.
you
I
so
got I
much
got
for
through your
having me.
title, so I'm good. I feel like it's downhill from there. It's we're
I
easy.
know. It's a tongue twister. I know. I actually
No,
left
no.
out CRP, GMS, AVP.
ADP, ASAP. IMO. No, this is great. So really quickly, hey, if you're tuning in right now, thank you. Get in the comments. I want to know who you are, where you are, what you're doing right now. I want to hear your questions for Faye. We're going to talk about titles and title. We're going to talk about also work stuff, fun stuff. We've got Texas talk. We've got a lot of reload talk. We're gonna be all over the map here with that. So just put it in the comments. Go ahead, check in, hit that like button. Also, Faye, where in the world are you today?
I am in Houston, Texas, representing H Town for
H
everybody.
Town. What
H
up?
Town. I know you're in Dallas, Ben. So
I am. I am.
condolences. But
I I like your office better. I like my city better. Okay, so now
hey,
we've addressed it.
hey,
All right.
hey.
So okay, give me okay, let's just have it out right now. Let's just put the elephant in the room out there right now while everybody's checking in. And I want to hear your votes, by the way, in the comments. Best city in Texas, because there's a couple others that we're not representing right now. So best city in Texas, throw it in the comments. Faye, why is Houston better than Dallas?
Oh gosh, Ben. Well, first off, hold on.
We only
I
have
have
an hour,
to.
by the way.
I know, I know. So the number one, I have this. I had it beside me. I was getting ready to share. That is the number one reason Houston is better. I mean,
How
aside
old is that?
from
How old is that newspaper, Faye?
it's from when we won the series in November of
It's
2017.
it's quite literally old news.
It
Quite
it
literally.
is, you know what, it is old news. It is. But hey, we're go Stros, right?
I hear you. I hear.
I
I don't know
was
when the
trying
last
to
time Dallas was that they won a championship in anything. It
I
might have been the Stars. I don't even know.
No, I think it was the
Um,
Mavericks, but that was years ago.
Mavs.
So I wanted to know, Ben, just since we're talking about
Yes.
it,
Yes.
is when you were deciding to move, why
Yes.
did you choose Dallas?
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. Great question. So a lot of people don't know this. I was born in Dallas. I was born
Oh,
at Baylor Hospital, downtown Dallas. PC people think I just like threw a dart or something. Because it is kind of random when you
coming to
don't really
America
know.
style, spinning
Yeah,
the
it's like,
globe.
oh, where do we go? Queens. I want a queen. Let's go to Queens. I just watched the second one. You seen the second one
I haven't
coming
seen the
in?
second one yet.
Yes,
It's on the list.
yes. He needs to find a bride. He's like, where do I go? Queens. All right. So anyway, no, I ended up in Dallas because I was born there, but my mom lives here, and I got cousins here. I got an aunt and uncle here. It's 4 hours north of my dad. My sister just bought a house down in Austin,
Okay.
and my brother's in Little Rock. It just worked out, and the economy is great. Dallas is great. Unlike Houston, which is very heavy oil and gas and Astros concession vendors, Dallas
100%.
has a very diverse economy here with
Uh,
lots of stuff, and
hey, but
so
we
that's
have
why.
Tesla, Google, Samsung, like so many corporations are moving to Houston right now. I don't know
My cousin just
if
bought a
you've
Tesla.
seen
He lives
it.
on the street. I feel like we're even on this. I don't know.
All right, all right.
I mean, all right. Let's see here. Let's see what people are saying here. Liz is checking in from Wisconsin. Nightberry,
Hey,
tell me that's good.
Liz.
Awesome. Let's see here. Kathy's votes for Dallas. We got one Dallas
Kathy.
in the
Oh,
house.
come on, Kathy.
Katrina says Austin. Now that's amazing. Tim
Austin's.
Quirk
Hey,
checking in from
Tim.
Western New York. Elizabeth.
Oh,
Hi, Ben and Faye. I love you both. What up,
love Elizabeth.
Elizabeth? Yeah. Julie Coleman. Hey, Ben and Faye. Julie,
Julie.
this one should be easy. Julie, Houston, Dallas, or
She
other?
she's got to say Houston.
You think, but she
Hey,
could tell the
Julie.
truth.
Julie
But
is
she could
on the
go either
board
way.
with me for Houston Relocation Professionals, and we do a lot of good work out here. Ben, you got to come to some of our
Okay,
meetings.
let's plug this here because I've never been to an HRP event.
What?
I know, right? I've never been to an HRP. What's the best one? I just got my second vaccine shot
Oh,
last week.
congratulations. That's
So
awesome.
I'm feeling like Superman. I'm ready to rock. You know, I went out for lunch just for the hell of it. When do I come to Houston for an HRP event?
So, well, we're doing a lot of webinars still right now, just trying to be, careful with everything going
Sure.
on. But we are planning an in-person event in September.
Ooh.
And it's going to be at the Westin downtown in the Med Center. And our events are lively, educational, fun. And we have so many corporates here. It's always a good turnout of good education and new things that we're talking about. So get that on your calendar for September.
September, early September, late September.
I want to say, and oh gosh, if HRP, if any of my board's on with me, I want to say it's September 9th
Julie,
is
throw it in there. Julie Coleman,
is
she's tuning in. She's paying attention. Throw it in the comments, Julie. Throw a link in there so everybody can register for it as well. Okay, I'll do it. I'm in. I'm
yeah,
in.
but we're having a webinar on April 8th. So diversity and inclusion. So tune
That's a
into
fun
that
topic.
also.
I'm in. All right, diversity, and that's on the 8th of
April 8th on
April.
Thursday at 3 p.m. Central.
Somebody also throw a link for that in there too to register that. We're always promoting DE&I conversations here. Let's see here. We got a couple more people checking in here. Remember, I want to know who you are, where you are, what you're doing right now. So throw it in the comments if you're watching. Stacy, great start of the week. Agreed, Stacy. Stacy, shout out to producer Stacy. Texas, huge show today. Julie says the housing is crazy in Dallas. Is it worse in Dallas than it is in Houston?
I'm curious about that one. I mean, our homes are flying off the market, and I mean, they're selling before they're even listed. So it's been crazy here.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. Mary Lee, hello, Ben and Faye from sunny and 70 degrees in Minnesota.
Oh, that's
Mike
nice.
Puckett, what up, guys? Brenda Thoney Johnson,
Hey,
Faye, one of my
Brenda.
favorite people. Faye, the last time I saw you in person, I want to say it was at a dinner. I could be lying. I'm probably lying about this. It feels like it was in a dinner. It feels like Brenda was there. Miss Brenda. She's awesome. Ray from
I love
Vancouver
Brenda.
checking in. Julie Coleman, I lived in Dallas for 20 years, but went to high school in Houston. Julie, I'm sorry, I can't accept that answer.
Yes, she's walking the line. Come on, Julie.
Julie, Jill Rush, look at that. Hey, you two
Oh, hey,
beauties.
Jill.
Back at you, Jill. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so we got a bunch of people checking in. Keep them coming here. I want to hear the questions you also have for Faye. But Faye, I talked about this. We've had dinner together. We've had drinks together. We've chair danced together virtually. We've done fundraisers for Move for Hunger together just recently. But I don't know your story about how you got in the business. So why don't you tell us your how did you get into relocation and title of all things?
Yeah, so I feel like it's kind of the same story that everyone has is you kind of fall into relocation and then you just never leave. I started working in the title section of relocation in 2003. Now I'm showing my age, but
In the
and
math here.
I'm
Happy birthday.
and it actually is April 3rd will be my 18th year in relocation. So pretty exciting stuff. But kind of fell in, started learning the biz and meeting the people, doing all the normal processing stuff, and loved this industry, love these people in relocation. Everybody's so friendly and helpful. And, from there, I kind of morphed into account management and getting to deal with wonderful relocation management companies and clients, and kind of made my way over to strategic operations, where I get to look into the title processes and find the kinks and the quirks and try to fix those things and then share it with the world.
So tell us what that means, right? So strategic operations, what does that mean? Help us understand.
Yeah, so basically I look at all of our title processes, which includes closing nationally. and, look at our clients' processes, the relocation management companies. That's who we primarily deal with. We do have some corporates, of course, that have in-house programs. But I look at the relocation management processes for home sale, home purchase, and say, what can we do to make this experience better, not only for the transferees, but for our customers, to give them better tools to turn around and sell their products, but to make it more efficient for them as well. And I get to look at all of those things and bring new products to them.
Would you say, okay, so it's products, not necessarily process, or is it both products and process?
Products and process. So, an example is, back in the day, we were sending people, I have this great story. Okay. So back in the day, Linda Hargraves, who is retiring this month from Old Republic. She's been with us for 27 years. So shout out to Linda Hargraves.
Nice.
She's been in the industry for a long time, but with Old Republic for 27 years. And she's retiring at the end of March. So, but back in the day, she actually had a deed package, a seller's document package to sell a home.
Deed package. I don't know what a deed package is.
It's the package that a seller will sign to sell their home. She had one that needed to get to a VIP transferee that day. So she put somebody on a commercial flight to get that package to them that day, because back in the day,
like you say, a package like documents. Like I'm walking,
documents.
Like I have a briefcase that's like handcuffed to my wrist, and I'm walking through the airport with some closing documents for a VIP. Okay.
Yeah. So back in the day, that was kind of the way, if something had to get done that day and it had to be signed and notarized, that's what she did. She kind of went above and beyond, and if it had to be done, that's how, she made sure it got done. And these days, since we're doing things so much differently, we're out of the fax machine age.
It's got to change a lot from hopping on a commercial jet or I'm assuming most of the time probably mailing people stuff, but I mean, it's got to have changed dramatically. How has it evolved, the process?
Yeah. So a lot of the things that have just started happening in the past, 4 or 5 years, some of it even as recently as the past year, because of, COVID and everything that's taken place.
What's COVID? Sorry, what's COVID?
I know. I was saying, like, I'm going to try as hard not to talk about COVID because I know I know it's going on now, but so many people talk about it. But, so much has changed. And so, like, one of the things that we've done, and 4 years ago, we started doing mobile notaries, where if you need something signed that day, that's great. We're going to find you a notary in your area that's going to show up at your house with the document package, sign it, notarize it right there for you at your home or at your location of choosing. And then, of course, from there, it's morphed into remote online notarizations, which, varies per state on what those guidelines are, varies, with the lender, with the county recording levels. But now we're doing, Texas is one of the big ones. I'm logging in with transferees and signing their document package with them, and I'm their notary, and we're doing it all electronically. And so much has changed in these years to get the title and closing industry to this point. It's exciting times for our industry then.
It sounds like it. I mean, it sounds like title is just making huge strides here. But I can't help but think that Linda had this idea when she got back from that plane. She was like, what we should do is get a notary to come to people's house. Can't we, I mean, I guess I want to understand also. Help me understand this too, because I've been very much from the moving and logistics side of the business. Not as well versed on the real estate side. In fact, I just sold my first home a few months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a big deal for me and my wife. Help me understand what a title company does and the value that they kind of add to the process.
Yeah. So first off, every person who is selling a home, nationally, you're either going to close on your home and your purchase, of course, with a title company and or an attorney. And it varies by state what the guidelines are. But what we do is we work with all the necessary parties, whether real estate agents, your lender, your homeowners association, the tax offices, to get everything together for you for your home, on how much you owe on the property, how much money we need from all the parties. And we also perform, or the main thing we perform is a title search. And what that consists of is we're looking at all of the recorded documents on your property, 40-year searches, who's owned your home, who sold it, what liens were placed on there, were they released, are there judgments? We're looking at the history of your property to make sure that this can be sold. And when we do those searches at the time of closing, we'll conduct the closing, we'll prepare the Alta settlement statement or the closing disclosure, and that says all of your figures. But at the same time, we're insuring your property based on this search that we have. We're saying that, hey, we've made sure that your property is marketable and ready to sell and ready to purchase. And you buy title insurance through us at that time. So that way, when you turn around and you're ready to sell your home, you have that insurance that if anything comes up in that new search that's done on your property, that you can come back to your title company that you bought your home through and you purchase that insurance to make sure that you're covered. That's title insurance in a nutshell. So, one of the big things that I feel like it's hard to kind of understand, but it's basically just like your homeowner's insurance. If you need a new roof and, you call them, they come out, they check the property and they, will take care of the problem for you. When you're going to sell your home, if there's an issue on your title and you bought insurance, you call your title company and they take care of it for you.
What does take care of mean? Like, it means like you're going to buy my house when nobody else will, or you're going to like remedy the situation that came up. Like, what does that mean? Like, take care of it? Because I mean, depending on what part of the country, like take care of it. Like, what does that mean? Like, take care of it?
Yes. So I actually love that you asked this question because I'm a complete title geek and I love talking about this stuff.
Well, I don't know anything about this. Is like a real like blind spot for me, to be completely honest with you. I know this is on the CRP exam. I blacked out. I still passed.
I watched your quiz show too, and I was surprised there were a lot of real estate and title questions on there.
I know. I feel like we just got like one chapter, but anyway, yeah. So anyway.
So essentially what I mean by take care of is, and this happens so much in relocation. And I mean, it happens every day, of course, for residential transactions as well. But of course, I see it in relocation multiple times a day. There are problems that will come up in title searches. I've seen ones where there's, a former owner from, 20 years ago passed away. And when that deed to sell the property was conveyed, the proper people who had taken over were not all on that deed to convey the property. So, I mean, we were out there looking up in the yellow pages and the white pages, these people's names, trying to find the heirs of this property to sign a new deed to convey. Your mind looks like what?
Wait, you're like looking up the white pages and you're digging. I mean,
yes.
And I'll be honest though, this job sounds a lot harder 30 years ago too, 40 years ago.
I'll tell you, I could not imagine without the internet that we have today.
I was going to say, you tell me what this job is now. I'm like, okay, so y'all Google a lot of stuff, right? And back in the day, I mean, you're going to like getting just a lot of microfiche probably work. There's a lot of like going to the library.
And I'll tell you, there's some states, believe it or not, that still have deed books in their courthouses. So if you want to do searches, you have to like walk in and sign out like this big book to like research the property. Because of course, every state isn't up to where everyone else is electronically online. But yeah,
what if there's a fire? Like, if somebody's got the deed book out, and like then like somebody puts a cigarette in the wrong receptacle, and then all of a sudden, like I'm flipping through the deed book, the wings burning down over here, and like, I just feel like a lot could happen.
A lot could happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen in any situation. But
That's a
I
lot
mean,
of
yeah,
pressure, Faye.
it is a lot of pressure, and that's why all these states, in the counties, we got to get them up to speed. And I know everybody they're working on it, getting things more technical. But yeah, I mean, we're dealing with divorce situations, making sure that the divorce decree, if it says that the spouse is entitled to this much money, we make sure that they get it at the closing. If there's an alimony that needs to be paid, child support, we're making sure those things are paid up. There's so much that goes into the title and closing piece, and that's why it's just so important to have a good supplier doing these things for you as a relocation management company or as a corporate in-house program.
And I want to talk about it as it pertains to relocation because this makes a lot of sense to me from an individual, but I want to understand also why it's so critical to the relocation process. But before we go there, we got some people checking in here, and I want to just give everybody a shout out who's checking in here. We got Michelle Brescia. Hey, Michelle. New CEO of ARC Relocation in the
Congratulations.
house. Okay, all right. I see you, Michelle. Okay. Let's see here. We got people checking in. Ray Abbott checking in. We've got Elizabeth. How can I join HRP?
I'll email you, Elizabeth. We would love to have you.
Nice. Awesome. Jersey in the house. That's great. Kelly Warren.
Hey, Kelly.
Houston. All right. Let's see here. Julie's asking me to join a webinar. Julie, I get a lot of webinars. I'm not going to lie to you, Julie. I'm going to see what I can do. I do a lot of webinars.
Julie organized this event, so she got all the speakers.
And I hear Valencia's going. I love Valencia.
Yep, Valencia is going to be on.
All right. We'll make it happen. Mary Lee. Let's see here. Melody. That's great. This is great. Lynn Greenberg from New York. Brian Rivers. What's up, First Tech Federal Credit Union? Hey, shout out to First Tech Federal Credit Union real quick here. That we just did our 8 weeks of giving. We gave away like 16 bottles of wine or something. Oh, wow. We're going to be pivoting this, and we're going to keep the giving going in April. And we don't know what we should give away. So if you're watching this right now, what do you want? Just put in the comments. What do you want? Do you want mail order meat, which doesn't sound very appealing, but I could probably dress it up a bit better. What do you think we should give away, Faye?
We're hoping you'll give out more Oculuses. My oldest son is dying for one.
Oculi, when you have more than one.
My oldest son is dying for one, so I'm making him save his money for it. And I know you gave one away.
We did. I gave one to Paul Seymour when he kicked my butt in CRP trivia, which he probably would have studied for if he knew there was like a $300 Oculus on the line. Maybe we could. Do you think we could give away? Well, let me try to do some quick math here. We could probably give one away. You know what? We're going to give one away. We're going to give one Oculus away. One Oculus away. And then, okay, but I can't give one away every week. That'll be like the grand prize.
Perfect.
But what else should we give away? Should we give away something else on a weekly? I think a weekly basis is fun.
A weekly basis for sure, yeah. Wine is always a go-to.
Yeah, okay.
I have a great wine lady if you need someone.
I kind of got my own wine lady. I got Janet Turner.
I didn't know she was a wine lady too. So yeah, you got to stick with Janet. Everybody loves wine.
It'll get sensitive around here if I bump Janet for some random. Yeah, no, but think about it. Hey, put it in the comments. I want to know what you think we should give away. I'll give away an Oculus. Last time I ordered one for Green Bay, Wisconsin, somebody from India called me to make sure that I actually intended to send an Oculus to Green Bay. Said nobody's ever ordered an Oculus in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So please put it in the comments if you got something. Eric Arnold, hi, hey Faye. Let's see here.
Oh, Eric,
you're up on the big screen. You made it. Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
Great.
That's awesome.
Great. Stephen Meyer, what's up, driver out in South Riding, Virginia? I believe that's Chantilly. Stay safe. Julie Coleman, Switzerland. She will not be dragged into our border skirmishes, our Texas border skirmishes. Marilee Brad went to high school in Houston. What's up, Joanna Remmel? This is great. Val McKenzie.
Hey.
She's from Houston, I believe.
Hey, Val.
That's what's up. All right. Let's see here. Ralph Berkeley in the house.
I love Ralph.
Nathan Brinker. Janet Edgar. Elizabeth, did you know this about Elizabeth? Her first job was a title company?
Gosh, I want to say that she did mention that to me, but maybe not. Oh, we have to discuss this now, Elizabeth. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then we have some hate mail actually coming in for you from Janet Turner trying to take her job.
Sorry,
Don't take my
Janet.
volunteer job, Faye.
I know now. I know now.
Melanie's got a good one. She says we should give away COVID vaccines.
Hey, honestly, those are really hard to come by. So if you can get that together, Ben, I think you'd have some serious interest.
Send a bunch of syringes in the mail. What could go wrong? Okay, this is great. John Habanik, howdy,
Hey,
Faye.
John.
Jill says wine's always awesome, but you may not be able to send it to all states. However, you can send it to me. This is great. This is great. People having fun. Jack Jampel in the house. That's what's up. That's
hey, Jack.
Awesome. Jason Rollins with a new job in the house there from PCH.
Yes.
What's up, Jason? Good to see you, buddy. That's awesome. I think Jason was down there in Texas playing some golf over the weekend.
Yeah, at Wildcat. Hey, we also have an HRP event every year that supports Candlelighters, our preferred charity. That's in November. It's a golf tournament. So you'll have to come down for that too, Ben.
In November. What weekend in November? My birthday weekend is the 13th.
Well, we don't have it planned, the date planned yet for this year. So now we know that's your birthday weekend. So we'll have to plan it around that.
Might have to do that. Just
check that off.
I like to pretend industry events are on my birthday for, anyway. This is great. This is great. So I was asking before I got sidetracked with all the wonderful people that are watching, and thank you everybody for watching. Hit that like button. Also leave questions here for Faye. I know you have tons of burning title questions. Leave those. We will get to all of them, I promise. But Faye, you've told me a little bit about what title does, which I appreciate. Why is title so important in the relocation process?
Yeah. So for relocation, one of the biggest things that a relocation management company or a corporate in-house program, they have to do is they acquire the property in traditional home sale transactions. And to do that, all of the stuff that happens in a normal residential transaction has to be done, quote unquote, upfront, before there's a buyer on the property. Because the relocation management company has to acquire and they have to take on that. I'm giving CRP stuff here, but since
please do. I lost last week. Please do.
They have to take on that tax burden. They take on that tax burden by bearing all risks and everything associated with the outside sale. So what they're having a preferred title company to handle placing that title order, doing the title search up front, and making sure that title is quote unquote marketable for the relocation management company to acquire. It is really important because they're acquiring and they're buying out the transferee before they're selling to the ultimate buyer. So if there's, let's say, we call them title issues, which are, defects that come up in our searches that have to be cleared.
What are some of the most common title issues that come up?
Yeah. So prior owner mortgages. Mortgages where someone previously on title, it never got released from the county records. That is one of the most common ones. And, essentially, if you didn't have homeowners or if you didn't have title insurance, you could be on the hook to have to pay that mortgage in order to sell your property because it was never released and there's no record of it ever being paid.
So this means that the person before me, say I'm the homeowner, the person before me owned the home, then I bought the home, but on paper, it still looks like they still own it also?
Well, no, it looks like they still have an open mortgage on your property.
So paying it.
Right. So most of the time, and I'll say, 99, and I probably shouldn't be throwing out stats because I'm just throwing out a number.
Okay, that's what we do.
99% of the time, those mortgages were paid off when the home was purchased, but the release from the mortgage company just wasn't filed correctly in the county records. Or this is my favorite one, transferees will get the release in the mail from the mortgage company with a nice letter on top that says, do not file this in a safety deposit box. Take this to the county to have it recorded. And then we find the mortgage of record and we call about it. And they're like, well, I just pulled this out of my safety deposit box. Was I supposed to do something with this? So, but yeah, I mean, there's prior owner mortgages, judgments against prior owners. Those are a lot of the most common ones that we deal with. But what we do as the title supplier is we clear up these issues. You know, we get that original release for that prior owner mortgage. We get a not same person affidavit signed, or get a payoff for those judgments that are on title. We make sure that the title is marketable for the relocation management company to acquire from the transferee. And once we're able to do that, and it varies, of course, per customer. That's one thing that makes our industry so great, is everybody does things a little bit differently. But then we'll prepare, an acquisition statement where we act as the closing office for the relocation management company as the buyer, and the transferee as the seller. And we prepare that equity statement so that way the transferee can get their money and be about their business. And that's why when I was watching your quiz show, one of the questions was who acts as the closing agent for an amended value.
Yeah.
And Paul told me, he was like, I got that one wrong because I said closing on the title company. And so I was disputing it also, because I was like, we do that. We're the closing agent. But it varies.
You're saying that Paul Seymour did not win?
No, he got it right. Well, he said title company. But the answer that Ben Heller gave was the relocation management company. So Paul was disputing it with me, and I had to side with Paul that it's the title company. But I did some digging with brighter minds than my own. Eric Arnold, hint, hint. He's our general manager and legal counsel of my department. But he was like, hey, if the relo company is doing their own acquisitions, they are considered the closing office. So it could go either way there.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we settled that, even though I still think Paul cheated or somehow otherwise absconded with an Oculus. Christina Swank here checking in. Sorry I'm late. Happy to see you both. What a way to start the week. Christina, I miss you too. Elizabeth, I will give away vintage wine for a month.
Oh, I'm in, Elizabeth.
Whoa. We'll have to work that in somehow, Elizabeth. Talk to me offline. We'll make that happen. Let's see here. Oh, Mary Lou Cohen. Nice to see you too.
Mary Lou.
She's wonderful. Mary Lou, we got to talk. I haven't talked to you in forever. It'd be so nice to touch base with her. Let's see. Martin Fox. Well, hey, Faye, you're the best. I see you tore yourself away from the Stros on MLB Network this afternoon. What a commitment. What professionalism.
I'm a huge Astros fan, and it never fails. I'm at a conference with Martin when the Astros are playing, and he's a huge Boston Red Sox. So we're always button heads a little bit.
Yeah. People are getting excited about the vintage wine. This is great. Erica Burton. Hey, Faye, miss your face. Erica, what's up? I'm right here. No love? It's fine. I got you.
She sees your face all the time, though.
Nobody misses me. Jack, love it, Jack. Thank you for getting in here with some hard-hitting questions here, Jack. Always can count on you. Please leave your questions here for Faye. We're going to ask them all. Jack says, what was one of the most difficult title issues you've ever come up against?
You know, I have to say there's been a lot. And this is, again, why I'm a title geek. I love the title industry. I love relocation, because every file that we come across is something different, and it's a different situation, and it's different research and digging that we have to do to clear it up. And I'm passionate about it, because getting those items removed from title, it's such a rewarding experience. But probably the most difficult one is this airship one. We had somebody in the chain of title from, I want to say it was like 20 years ago, in the chain of title, and the owners had passed away, and some of their heirs had signed a deed to sell the property to 5 prior owners ago, but it wasn't all of the correct heirs. to the property. Because little known fact, if you don't have a will and you don't file the proper documentation, when you pass away, every heir that you have has a vested interest in your property. So we were on Yellow Pages, White Pages, Google. We were searching down all of the heirs to this property, because we had to have 4 other people sign a deed to convey their interest, so that way it didn't come up later.
But if you come to me also, if you come to me and you say, hey, would you mind signing this deed to convey this property that you didn't know you owned? I'm like, well, let's see now. How much is it worth? I mean,
no, exactly. And those are the risks that, so many people run when you don't have the proper people to making sure that you're taken care of when you're selling the property, to make sure that all the steps are followed the way that they're supposed to. But we ended up, we had to email in the local newspaper about the property, where the owners had, or the people that potentially had a vested interest, had time to claim that interest before we could move on, because other people could come out of the woodworks and say, oh, we have an interest too. We have an interest. So there's that. And then I've also had one where there was a very nasty divorce situation, and, the transferee didn't want their ex to know where they lived, but they both still owned rights to the property. And we had to work out getting documents signed without them knowing where each other was at. And I mean, we get into some interesting situations. I've also sent a mobile notary to a prison to have documents signed to sell a house.
Yes. Well, no, that's a good one too. What happens when you go to prison? I mean, what happens to your mortgage? What happens to, so you're saying this is a person that had been on the title in the past, but who had never properly conveyed it or whatever. And
Correct.
so this person, so it's like, hey, you've got a visitor. It's like, hey, Jack John Pell, you've got a visitor. And then Jack shows up like, great, sweet. Who's bringing commissary? Hopefully I get a Twinkie. And then they're like, actually, can you sign this document to give us the rights of a house that you didn't know you owned?
Yes. I mean, I was talking to the prison guards and everything, trying to get a notary in there to get this signed and present the proper identification. And when the only identification is your prison jail card. I mean, so title's fun. You didn't know this, Ben.
I did not know that y'all were going to prisons. I have a whole new respect for the title company now. I just kind of was like, really? What do y'all do again? And, hey, if I'm in prison, you're going to come visit me. I appreciate that at least. All right, we've got another question here. Keep these questions coming here. If you've ever had a title question, you want some free advice, bring those questions. Just remember, you get what you pay for. All right, Farrell Elliott, is this where an opening for title fraud comes into play?
Well, I'm not sure I understand the question, but I mean, has there been title fraud? I'm sure there has. I haven't had it happen in my time, but I'm sure there has been somewhere.
Yeah. Farrell, let us know what you're thinking there with the title fraud aspect. But I'll say something about that, right? I know that you work with conveying titles from properties that are being sold.
Correct.
But I'm hearing a lot about rental properties that are being rented to people and the person doesn't even own the property. Some person's like, hey, I got a great house for you down, this house, whatever. And on Craigslist, put a deposit in, and, they do it with 6 people, and then they don't actually own the property. And then people move in and they're like, then everybody thinks they rented the place and whatever. I'm just wondering, it almost seems like there should be a title service to rent a house. Like if you want to rent a property, you need to prove that you have the title, that you have the ability to do that.
I would definitely say that if you are looking to rent a house, work with a realtor who can do the check on who owns the home, on who has the authority to lease it out. Don't just pick something up off Craigslist, because that is definitely a scary situation.
Yeah. Farrell says, yes, we have fraud on leases. Yeah, she says we have fraud on leases too. Well, realtors don't want to do this business, though. This is also what I found out when I rented a house. I mean, they did it for me very happily, and they did a lot of work for us. But what I found out is they don't always get full commission. That commission might be equivalent to like a month or a half month's rent versus, being 3% of the transaction. They're doing almost as much work going around showing you all the places in a hot housing market. Like, it's hard to find a decent realtor to even deal in rentals. So a lot of people are off on their own and they're checking wherever, the internet, right? Which is just the root of all evil. We can agree.
And I will tell you to that if there is someone who's renting and doesn't have a realtor that can assist them, you can check with a title company. I mean, you'd have to, depending on the state, you'd have to pay for that search, the title search, to make sure that everything is good. And the fees, of course, vary nationally. But do your digging, because we actually had one, now that you're talking about it, in Houston, where I read in the news that this family, they gave a cash payment to these owners to live in this home, and come to find out that that person didn't have the authority to even let them live there. They lost all their money. So
yeah, or they move in, and then the next day another family knocks on the door because they're trying to move in, and then another family. I mean, somebody said that for a week people were knocking on the door thinking that they were moving into the apartment.
that's crazy.
And they just stopped answering the door.
That's crazy.
Seriously. Farrell says, I asked the question when you were talking about clearing a title. She asked the question of, is this where an opening for title fraud comes into play?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen title fraud in those situations. Really, it's about if you bought a policy, a title insurance policy, an owner's policy to be exact, because there's two different types of policies. There's a lender's policy, which insures your mortgage lender that if anything comes up when you try to sell, they're taken care of. And then there's an owner's title insurance policy, which you as the homeowner should take out or should purchase at closing to make sure that you're protected. But normally there's a claim placed on it if the item can't be cleared or made marketable so that you can sell the property. And that title company who insured your property would remedy the situation, or of course, if they needed to pay something out to take care of it, they would do so then. But I haven't really seen anything title fraud wise in my history.
Everybody's loving your stories, Elizabeth, Jack Jampel. Love your stories, Faye, for
title
sure.
Insurance is fun, guys.
John Marsh wants to know about the foggy goggle in his neck of the woods.
I just got back from Seven Springs, Pennsylvania. Took the family there for a spring break snowboarding trip. And I want to give a shout out to John Brennan of Brennan Title Company, because John Brennan is not only a friend and we use his office a lot for closings in the Maryland area, but he's also one of the board members for the Foundation for ERC. And I had bid on his cabin at Seven Springs during the ERC online auction for Family Promise. And we went up there for about a week, and my kids snowboarded for the first time because, they're from Houston. They've never seen real snow. I attempted to snowboard, and it was
how'd that go for you? Yeah.
The one thing, and I'm open to suggestions for all of you, that are on. I couldn't figure out when I would fall and try to get up, the board would start sliding down before I was up. So I was sliding down the mountain like in this backward crab position because I couldn't get the board to stop sliding while I was trying to stand up. So it was pretty comical. My kids nailed it. They were awesome at it. And they continued to tell me the whole trip that I was the worst at it. But we had a good time.
Yeah. Stacy says Seven Springs is fun. You should go to Pond Skim next year.
Where is Pond Skim? I don't know where that is.
No clue. Stacy's going to help us out, though. Michelle actually has a question. Michelle Brusha, what are some of the newer innovations you see coming to the title space?
Yes. So, some
blow
of
our minds, regale us with innovation.
I know. So I have a wish list of things that I hope to see coming. First off, everybody in our space talks about e-closings and remote online notarizations. And, are some people doing it? Sure. Are all 50 states doing it? No. And the reason why is there's state legislation that has to be approved to allow for digital signatures and digital notarizations to be considered valid. And I'm hoping that within the next, year or two, that we see remote online notarizations being accepted across nationally in all 50 states, and even down to the county level, because the county recorder's offices ultimately have to be able to e-record these documents in order for them to work. So hoping for that. I know that we're bringing remote online notarization to the seller in home sale packages for in the states, of course, where we can. So that's something new and exciting that's happening. And, I'm also hopeful that the mortgage industry, a lot of the big lenders are able to already do RON closings and e-notes. But, some of the smaller ones, the community level banks and credit unions, they're just not there yet. So I'm hoping to see that to where the entire transaction can be done digitally. That way, you're not signing half the package electronically and the other half you have to wet sign in person. And then I'm also hoping to see, title, the data, really take off, and how the title suppliers are helping our customers better be better informed, have more information to give to their corporate clients, to be more efficient, to just have that data at their fingertips. Because
what type of data, Faye? What type of data do you think could be helpful to our clients?
Yeah, so title companies, we have so much information. We do national business, so we have home sale prices with closing costs. Across all 50 states and what those prices look like. We have homeowners association phone numbers and fees down to the community levels. We house so much data on every transaction, whether it's home sale, home purchase, direct reimbursement, that all of that information, being able to, put it in like a heat map or, a calculator tool where our clients, can just click a button and potentially have all this data at their fingertips for RFPs and for questions that they get from their customers, or to just look at the data and be able to say, where are we making the most money? Where can we make more? What can we adjust based on what this, heat map looks like? So just looking to integrate more data in the future is something I'm hopeful for, but also, just making things better for our customers, making them more efficient.
Yeah. Love to hear thoughts of people in the comments about how they might be able to use data that title companies, that Faye comes across. I wonder what you would do with it, as that we have a bunch of different stakeholders represented here. Let's see here, to your question earlier. Stacy says Pond Skim is an event at Seven Springs, typically close out of ski season. People dress up in costumes and ski down the hill across a pond of water next to the foggy goggle.
Oh, wow. I did not hear about that when we were there, but we were there. They were closing, I guess. I don't want to say they were like officially closing, but they said that the ski season was going to be over the week after we were there. So we made it just in time, but I did not hear about that.
Yeah, might have just missed Pond Skim. Valerie says, you and I will have to go. I used to be a snowboard instructor.
I need your help, Valerie.
Val, I need 3 tips. 3 tips right now in the comments, Val, for Faye on how to stand up on a snowboard on an uneven surface. Please throw that in there. Jack Champel says, what happens? Okay, serious question, serious face. Jack says, what happens if for some reason you can't get a clean title? Are there any legal maneuvers to allow you to close the deal?
Yes. So I love that you asked this question. And
that don't involve you or Jack going to a jail?
Yeah. So, the number one thing I want to stress, and I everyone who's listening, is title insurance. purchase it at your closing, okay? Across the board. So many times I see it because on the buy side, if you're in what we call a buyer paid state, where it's the buyer's responsibility to pay for the owner's title insurance, a lot of the times that the buyers won't get it. They see the cost. They see that, of course, the cost varies based on location and home purchase price and all that. But they'll see, a $2,000 charge for owner's title insurance, and they look at that and say, "Oh, I'm not going to need this. I'm not going to worry about it," because they don't want to spend that cost, and it's not a reimbursable expense on a home purchase. And because then this transferee is going to move again. And here we are now, it's a home sale and they're getting all the benefits, and there are, title defects that come up, and they didn't purchase that owner's policy when they bought the property. So they don't have those protections. And I've seen it where, we're trying to remedy the situations. Of course, that's what we do as the supplier to our customers, is even if they didn't purchase insurance, we're digging down, we're doing the searches, we're trying to get that title clean so that it can go through the home sale program. But there are times where, we just can't. I've had it before where there was a lender, they'd been sold multiple times and they went out of business, and we couldn't get a release. And, there are times where, depending on the risk situation, we can go to underwriting, and underwriting will, weigh those risks to make a determination on if they'll allow it to go through to go ahead and insure the property. But there are times when they'll say no. And again, that depends on, the underwriter and their opinion on the matter. But then we have to tell them, hey, you shouldn't acquire this property. It can't go through the home sale program. And then the transferee is left to have to figure that out on their own. And sometimes that entails, them either having to pay to clear whatever the defect is on title, if it's something that can be paid, or they're stuck not being able to sell their home until they figure out how to remedy the situation. Now, had they purchased title insurance, we would go back and get, that prior title company who they purchased through to assist. But you just don't have those securities if it's not purchased. And it makes me cringe sometimes when we see buyers who decline to purchase it because they don't think that they'll need it, and they know they're not getting reimbursed that expense.
Well, I was going to say, is this something that a company ever pays for their employees?
Yeah. So in home sales transactions, it's a covered expense. But on home purchase, if the seller is paying for it, like in Texas is what we call a seller paid state, where the seller of all the properties is the one paying for the owner's title insurance. So a buyer in that situation would always get the owner's insurance because the seller's paying for it. But if you go up to, the East, and you're in, I don't know, we'll say Georgia, where it's a buyer's expense, it's not a reimbursable expense on a home purchase because it's optional for the buyer to get that. So they'll look at that expense and they'll decline it. And then they're stuck in a really negative situation if a defect comes up when they try to sell. And we see it very often, of course, where these transferees, they cycle through every couple of years. So just something for everyone to keep in mind for your transferees on those purchases, encouraging your buyers to go ahead and pay that cost, or of course the employer to reimburse that expense because of the situation they can be in later.
Wow, that's a lot to think about.
Good
information. So before we get to your top 5, we've actually got a bonus top 3.
Oh.
And it's top 3 things that Faye needs to keep in mind when she's snowboarding. Number 1, be prepared to have a cold hiney. Now, people who aren't from Texas don't know what a hiney is. It's your butt, okay? Be prepared to have a cold hiney. All right, you put those snow pants on. Number 2 and 3, bend your knees, be patient. It will come. Did it ever come?
I will tell you that it didn't come, but I had muscles hurting in places I didn't know I had muscles. So I'll say that.
Put some ice on your hiney. Okay, that's part of the recovery process as well as the expectation process. Okay, so that was the top 3, just to prep us here. But Faye, you want to play top 5 with us today?
I would love to.
All right, awesome. Here we go. All right, so Faye, you got a top 5 for us. What's your top 5 today, Faye?
Okay, so my top 5 is top 5 TV shows, and I have to say that should I start at number 1 or do I start at number 5?
So here's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Number 5, like movie voice. Number 5. Watch it.
All right.
Magic. Number 5. Number 5
is Cold Case. Everybody loves a good crime and murder show. Sorry, it took me a while to pick that up, Ben.
No, it wasn't for you. It was for Stacey.
Oh.
No. So I'm gonna say the number. It's gonna pop up. You're gonna read it, and then you're gonna tell me why. And then I'm gonna tell you you're crazy. And then we're gonna go to number 4. Go ahead.
I am crazy. Everybody loves a good murder mystery show, right? So Cold Case, of course. I had to have one of those in my top 5.
What? Okay. Explain the premise here of Cold Case, and do they ever solve the cold case?
You've never watched?
I don't know.
You've
is
never
it just
watched
like
Cold Case?
Is it a drama? Is it like a Law and Order kind of thing? What is it?
No. It's like real crimes from the past that they've made a TV show about. That's 1980s themed style, even though it's current filming, but where they solve it. And they show you how forensics and all this have gone into solving these cold cases.
Okay, so a crime happened back in the day. Nobody solved it. The case went cold.
Yes.
Now with forensic technology, DNA, now they've solved it, and somebody's behind bars who was free for 20 years. Now he's caught. She's caught.
Yes. Okay. Very good.
Got it. Did they ever have the wrong person and they were freed by the evidence? Oh, sure.
Not on Cold Case now.
Okay, that'd be a real bummer. Okay, I'd be very conflicted.
we want to catch them.
Yeah, you want to catch them, but then you feel like, oh, bad for Tom, who's been in there for 20 years and he's been telling everybody he's innocent. Okay, number 4.
90 Day Fiance.
What the hell is this, Faye?
Okay,
what is 90 Day Fiance?
Everybody has to have that trash TV that you just watch when you're like falling asleep at night. And 90 Day Fiance is one of those ridiculous trash shows. I tell everybody to watch it because it's like a train wreck. You can't look away.
What's the premise? It's like this TV show. What's the premise?
It's people from the States who meet someone on the internet who lives in another country.
Oh,
and they they get engaged and they have 90 days in the United States before they have to get married or they have to go back to their country.
I'm in on this.
It's really good. It's just good trash TV, and it's a lot of fun.
So this is like they're on a travel visa or something over here?
It's a 90-day fiance visa.
Fiance visa. So they're coming over under the auspices of getting married already. Had they met already overseas yet? So
that's where they get you. Sometimes they have, and you get to see the person from, the US, trying to figure out their way in these other countries, no matter how they get there and how they try to meet the people for the first time before they bring them over, because they want to make sure it's really love, right? They're not just trying to come over here. So they do that before they bring them over to the States. It's just good fun.
It's just good fun. Are these people? Who are these people? First of all, are this U.S. men looking for women, or does it go both ways?
It goes both ways.
Okay.
Oh, and it's you have to watch it, Ben. Now you have to watch it. Get on Hulu and type in 90 Day Fiance.
Hulu.
Okay. I watch it on Hulu. I'm sure you could watch it other places too, but it's just good trash TV.
Okay. All right. I'm in. You know what? This top 5, as it should be, is getting better. I'm in. Number 4. I'm in on number 4. All right. Number 3.
Oh, Quantum Leap. This is the one, Ben. Have you heard of Quantum Leap?
With Scott Bakula?
Yes. You do know. This is a classic good TV. For those of you that are, dialed in, if you didn't watch this, I mean, that moment where you wait for Scott Bakula to look in a mirror to see whose body he's in, it's like,
No, that was the, now that you mentioned that, that was the point in the show. Yeah. And then at the end, he always like goes somewhere. He like
he
he leaps. He
Yep.
leaps.
To a new body.
And then it's like, where am I? And he's like trying to figure out a situation, and it cuts, right? And it's like,
yep.
So you're gonna love
good.
this part, because I remember when it came, and I came in and you guys were like, oh, is Ben gonna know this show? So you're gonna love it. You're like, oh, is he too young to know this show? And he's, well, he's not that young. Ha ha ha. Anyway, so you know who turned me on to this show? My mom. My mom loved this show. Okay. My mom loved this show, so I would watch this with my mom. Okay. So I'm glad you brought this up, and I'm glad that you and my mom have something in common here. That's great.
That's awesome.
No, Quantum Leap. That's actually a really, it's good show. Good show. Number 2.
Ozark. Everybody knows Ozark.
Yeah.
The final season is coming up. It's about to be out on Netflix, and I think it's the beginning of April.
Are they bringing it back? Because I heard a rumor it was not going to be brought back.
This is the final season. So tune in on what's going to happen.
Yeah, because
very good show.
There was 2 seasons so far, right? And now the 3rd season's coming back. Okay.
Yep, final one.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, when I watched, it says it got canceled. I don't know. I don't know if it's coming back. You sure it's coming back?
I'm sure. All right, people listening, I know that there's got to be some people that watch Ozark.
Yes.
Yeah, the final season is supposed to be starting soon. I would totally get on my phone and tell you when.
I'm on my phone right now, and I'm messing with it.
I'm going to tell you.
Please, can somebody look this up and put it in the comments here? Okay. We need to know. All
right. I'm looking.
I'm getting conflicting reports here.
I'm looking.
So Ozark was one. It's people are, oh, you gotta watch. The first episode, I was kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of slow, whatever. And then I got really into it. Big fan. Love the way season 2 ended. And Swank's checking in saying, I think there's one more final season. Okay, we don't need Christina. We need real information that we can
I know it is.
Okay. People are loving Quantum Leap, by the way.
Yay!
Kelly Warren says decisively it's coming back for one more season. We've got people.
Yes, March 27th. So, oh my gosh, did I miss the first episode?
That's impossible. We would have seen this. Okay,
season 3.
Okay, all right. Hey, there we go. I'm getting conflicting reports. Okay, Ozark. I'm in on it. I swore things were going to end differently last season. Do you remember the final? No spoilers. But do you remember the final scene?
Yes.
And it's like, that's it. That's a wrap.
What?
And it was like,
I know.
Oh, that was amazing. Okay.
I can't believe they're ending it, but I digress. Last season.
Yeah. All right. Number one. Top number 1.
Seinfeld. I am a huge Seinfeld fan. I've probably watched every episode 100 times. Who doesn't love Seinfeld?
You go from Ozark to Seinfeld. I mean, I'm not mad at you. I think they're both amazing. You just really touched all the categories here. Reality TV, murder, reality TV. No, Seinfeld's amazing. What's your favorite? You got a favorite episode or favorite situation or favorite line from Seinfeld?
I mean, I think it's probably these pretzels are making me thirsty. I mean, it's every time I eat something now, I'm like, this is making me thirsty. Or the Elaine chicken dance,
Yeah, Elaine dancing.
I'm really good at that one.
Which, the Elaine dance. It's funny. I was actually talking to somebody actually who was watching the show about the Elaine.
Elizabeth.
Yes, exactly. I didn't want to call her out, but that's fine. Hey,
are you Elizabeth?
Hey, you know what I think is an underrated Seinfeld, the one nobody talks about. I mean, they did a JFK reenactment of I don't know if it was a Cracker Jack or this.
It was the spit from the baseball game.
And they did a JFK. If you haven't seen JFK, Kevin Costner's movie, anyway, it was the Zapruder film. It was an amazing reenactment on Seinfeld.
I
That's
loved
quite
it.
that's quite a
Great
range
episode.
for sure. That's
It is
great. I have a signed script of the contest episode of Seinfeld.
What, Lisa? That's awesome.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
The contest was a good episode too.
Is he sponge worthy? I mean, these are amazing. These are amazing. Okay, this is great. Faye, this has been so much fun. Do you want to leave us with a final thought here? You've been a lot of fun. You've given us a lot to think about. Is there anything, a final thought you want to leave us with?
Well, first I want to say thank you, Ben, for having me. This has been awesome, and I appreciate the platform. I think that, one of the things I just want to say is, title and in your home closings is something I feel like isn't talked about enough in educational sessions, all the regionals, worldwide ERC. So having the opportunity to just talk about it, I feel like is important to get the information out there to corporates, RMCs, and everybody alike. But make sure that your transferees are getting a title insurance, owner's policy at closing. It's so important. And just make sure that you're closing on your properties, whether it be home sale or home purchase, with your preferred title supplier, because they have your best interests at heart. There's so much that goes into it to make sure that you all, as the relocation management company and corporates, are protected. So you want to make sure it's done right so you don't wind up in a situation later. And I would love to help anybody with any title or closing or questions or anything that you have. Because like I said, I'm a title geek and I love this stuff. So bring it on.
Yeah, awesome. Faye, this was a lot of fun having you. And shout out to everybody that got involved in the comments. The comments were amazing. The questions, the comments, we had a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, hit that applause button for Faye. Thank you so much for everybody that tuned in today. It's always better when you do. So thank you for being here with us. And we've got Chris Hall and Steve Hoffman from GTN, Global Tax Network, tomorrow answering all your tax questions. So we're going from title to tax. It's going to be an amazing week this week. Anyway, thank you again, Faye. I really appreciate it.